welcome to the iRacing Today radio show for April the 10th, 2014. My name is Trevor Cameron. I am your host, of course, and we're starting a little bit different here, but we'll get through that and we'll talk about what's happening here. And alongside me in the virtual booth, although if you look side to side, you will not actually see him, I have Mr. Chad Dalton. How are you doing tonight, Chad?
You know how hard it was not to speak for the last minute and 10 seconds.
Well, these are the sacrifices that I expect you to go through in order to get to, the level of professionalism that I feel that we have. No, wait, we want. We're trying. We're trying to be professional. So, and okay. I'm going to, as we'll explain what's going on a little bit later, I'm going to continuously do takes to the camera that you can't see and the audio listener can't also see. So that's probably going to throw off my comedic timing. That's because I'm not used to this. I feel like I'm on display. I feel like I'm a trained monkey here. But I'm okay with that. I'm cool.
I'm watching you. You look pretty awesome.
So, how are you doing tonight, Chad?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. Not too bad. Not too bad.
So, we've covered that you are apparently not too bad, which is good. So,
actually, you know what? I'm going to upgrade myself to not bad.
We're just going to take news, everybody. Chad is indeed.
This
not
just
too
in.
This
is an iRacing Today radio show alert.
Chad's not bad. He's cool. So, before we get into the show proper here, we've got a full show. We missed last week with you guys, unfortunately, due to some scheduling and whatnot. But to let you guys know, we're doing something a little bit different. It's been a year since we started this show, so we figured, we've done the thing for a year. So after a year that everything has been working and everything has been going great and the audience has loved us and we've had some great interactions and had a wonderful time, let's change something. Because, if it works great, throw more eggs into the basket and see if you can blow it up. That's my idea. So, the idea is what we're going to do is we're going to start live streaming. I've been talking about streaming for a bunch now. We're going to start streaming the show recording on YouTube. And assuming I didn't mess anything up, that's what's happening right now. Now,
it's working.
Okay. Now, for the audio listener...
You move your hands a lot.
I do. I talk a lot. And I do that. I did that anyway. See, that's the thing. Nobody knew what was happening before. But that's what I actually do. So for the audio listener who gets this through iTunes or Zune or goes through our webpage, basically nothing changes. The show's still going to be recorded there. It's still going to be exactly the way it was. This is just kind of an added addition. So on show record nights, which is Thursdays at 9 p.m. usually, depending on schedules and me and...
Eastern,
right, 9 p.m. Eastern, sorry. Depending on schedules and whatnot, but we're going to be recording the show live on YouTube as well, and it'll be archived there. So you guys can watch it while we're recording it. You can watch it afterwards, or you can just listen to it the way you always did. I'm going to try to do some of my... I'm learning the Open Broadcaster software. Software? That can't be right. It's OBS, I know that. I'm learning that with my game streaming, so I'm going to be trying to play with some things to see if I can add to the experience, and it's probably going to be a horrible mess with me sitting there staring at my computer and you guys being confused as to why I'm not talking. But we'll get better. We'll get through this.
Yeah, I can picture that now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm a man, and as a man, I am legally obligated to not be able to multitask. So... But I do have a nice beard, so that's important too. So
Very important.
So this week we've of course got some news, with the latest news and updates from iRacing, and of course some show news and whatnot. We've got some. We'll talk about our latest racing experiences, which really aren't that prevalent over the last little bit. Schedule's been a bit busy, but that's going to change. We're going to be talking about some of the stuff that I'm doing now with this whole streaming idea, which I'm really hoping to kind of add I don't know. I just want to make stuff about video games, be it racing, be it other video games and whatnot, and just entertain people because that's what I like doing. That's why I podcast. We're going to go over the poll question because we passed over the end of the month, and I don't even remember what last month's poll question is, but we'll get to that. We're going to go over our track of the week, which is Bristol, which is one of Mr. Chad's favorite. He loves to love it and loves to hate it. And we're going to be talking about our car of the week, which is the SK and the Tour Modified. And if something pops into our head, we'll probably talk about that too as well. So that's my general idea. So does that sound like a good show to you there, Mr. Chad?
Yeah. I think we could beef it up a little bit though. But maybe we'll think of something.
Not full enough, eh?
Nope.
All right. Well, we're going to transition.
It's going to be a really short show. I mean, we're going to be done in like 20 minutes.
We have no idea what we're doing, so everything's good. Yeah. So we're going to move into our news segment, which is presented by iRacerstuff.com. You can check out their website over at iRacerstuff.com, because otherwise it'd be a really stupid name unless that was their actual website. So we've got some news to go over there, and that's about it. So first item is something we've talked about a few times already, and that is that iRacing.com is having another video contest. They seem to do this pretty regularly and annually, as we mentioned. This time the prize is 1,000 iRacing credits. It's being hosted on their Facebook page, which of course everybody has a Facebook account, and if you don't, you can make one for free. And if you're going to use it to play, all those games, those Candy Crushes and those Farmvilles and stuff like that, I suggest using a fake name and not putting your personal pictures on there.
Yeah.
There's your tip of the week. They'll be accepting submissions through April the 14th, which is in 4 days from the time that we're recording this. The iRacing staff will then select their top 5 and then put those up on Facebook, and then anybody who goes to Facebook can go and vote for their favorite in order to pick the winner. The voting will run from the 18th of April 2014, so that gives them 4 days, I guess, to figure out what the top 5 are. No idea how many submissions they've had. That could be either an easy, relaxing task, or it could be a very daunting task. I don't know. And the voting will end on May the 1st, 2014. The rules are the videos must be no longer than 90 seconds and must contain only content that you have the rights to use. Of course, anything that is iRacing related is fair game because they're asking you to make it for them. So, of course, it would be very unfair to say, actually, that could make some challenge. They're giving out $1,000, so why not go with make an iRacing video, and you're not allowed to use any iRacing footage, but get people excited about the sim. Go.
Yeah, I think we should do that.
It'll just be me standing in the corner with a racing wheel going, man, I wish I had something to do with this.
So you guys should really check out iRacing. It's like this great thing you can do. And like I'm on there and like you can friend me and like it's so great. There's like, 65,000 people and like, yeah, do it. That would be my video.
It's awesome.
Just throw in as many likes as possible so I can sound like an awesome teenager.
Is that what they sound like nowadays, or is that what teenagers sounded like when I was a teenager, or before then?
I don't know.
Excellent.
I'm just getting tired of people saying like all the time.
Well, it's Facebook's fault. I mean, you got to go like the Facebook stuff.
Like stuff.
You got to go like our Facebook page, which you
I literally heard a conversation today between two girls where I was just kind of like bypassing, and
you said like
and. In the 5 seconds I know that I was bypassing, I heard like probably 20 times.
Awesome.
I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, like, stop liking.
I don't like your like.
I unlike this.
Well, I mean, it's like that. Because I'd heard the song because people parodied it all the time. That whole "let me take a selfie" thing. So I actually went and looked at the song, like found the song on YouTube and watched the video, and I actually felt myself getting dumber the longer that video went. Like if it was longer than the 3 minutes it was, I think I would have entered into a vegetative state. I'm pretty sure. So
nice.
Yeah, but anyway, what they're looking for, as we mentioned, is any videos that really show how great iRacing is, especially for people who are already not part of our community, because that's probably who they're targeting with these videos, because if you're already involved, it's like, hey, I'm already subscribed, I'm already racing, I'm already having a great time, and then they'll blast this video at you. enjoy it more. Probably not the target. So if, something that'll show them, why people should check it out. Because, people talk about this all the time, obviously. We have an entire radio show dedicated to it. So let's get some videos out there and make people understand why it's so exciting, why we love it, and why we keep racing it.
Yay, iRacing!
That is disappointing. I was... I
didn't
paid out that
say
money.
like.
I paid out that money for the enthusiasm courses, for the cheering courses, and I'm not really getting the feeling that I'm getting a return on my investment here. I wasn't sure if you fell down, if you just started, if you smacked your head, but you were just starting to slow clap.
I smacked my head while I'm sitting here. Yeah,
You could happen.
That's a good one.
Okay.
I did knock my mic off one day.
So, moving right along, as you know, we like to add stuff to the show to kind of make it better for you guys and more fun and whatnot, such as, this YouTube thing, which could be a horrible disaster, not sure yet. The jury's still out on that. We're only like 14 minutes into this, so we've got lots of time to go off the rails. We may have already. But then again, I kind of feel that our show kind of lives in this little area off the rails anyway. So that's where I'm comfortable with. The rails, straight line, go here. Who wants that? But if we were to add any new segments to the show, we're kind of looking at seeing what else we could add. Let us know. Give us some, send us an email, send us a tweet, go to our Facebook page, send smoke signals, leave a comment on the show under the YouTube. Oh, wait,
SOS.
I was going to say, I guess I'm new to this whole YouTube thing here. I'm trying to figure it out. So I think, is this the part where I go, hey, make sure you click on subscribe and like us and click on the link for everything else? I don't know how this works. I know that you're supposed to subscribe and you're supposed to like it or something.
Subscribe.
And then at some point in time, a disruptive ad shows up and you give me money, I think.
Just for the record, I have more subscribers on YouTube than you do, and I feel very special about that.
I just started. And you have content. I have what do I have? I have 2 tests I did. Here's a Carb Cup race with a really crappy frame rate and me not racing really well,
Yeah, like I told you in the email, you should have made your move in that second video coming off turn 2.
I know.
You lost the race.
I was so excited that I was.
You lost the race.
I made it up that far.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You lost the race.
I didn't lose. I came in 3rd.
That is the second loser.
For me, I'm totally cool with that. So, excuse me. So anyway, yeah. So whatever you guys feel that you should add to it, let us know through whatever means you feel. We're pretty open. We're out there. You can get a hold of us, and we respond because we're good like that. Now once we get over 20,000 people listening and sending us emails and stuff like that, I'll hire an intern. It's all summer's not that far away. I can get somebody.
Whoa, you're gonna hire somebody? I'm not even hired.
Well, with all the money I'm making, because I'm on YouTube now, and as far as I know, I mind you, I haven't done any research, but as far as I know, everybody who puts stuff on YouTube becomes a millionaire. That's how I understand it.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong.
Well, I put stuff on YouTube, and I'm not a millionaire yet.
No, so it's a process then.
Apparently, I've been on it for a year, so
No.
let's get the ball rolling on that one there, YouTuber.
Indeed. So, moving right along, Mr. Chad, what was our poll question last week? No, wait, last month.
Nope.
Last fortnight. Oh, gosh, I don't remember anymore.
Our poll question for the month of March was, how many times would you say that you race on iRacing.com in a week? And we gave you the options for once, twice, 3 to 5 times.
A lady. Sorry.
Nope. 3 to 5 times.
Don't do that.
5 to 10 times, 10 to 20 times, or 20 or more times. And the results are in. Ding, ding, ding. I have my lovely card that I'm going to take out, and the winner is 3 to 5 times with 29% of the votes. 5 to 10 times came home in second with 24% of the votes. Once is 20% of the votes. Twice is 16% of the votes. 10 to 20 times is 11% of the votes. And coming in last place with absolutely no votes at all, which is not very surprising,
Loser.
is 20 or more.
Excuse me.
If somebody races 20 or more times, we need to have a discussion.
You think?
In a week.
Yeah, I mean, 20 or more times in a week would be excessive, maybe.
Yeah.
I
I would definitely.
What did you vote
Oh,
for?
well, I voted. And I'm pulling out one of our lovely asterisks. I voted for 3 to 5 times because that's what I've been doing for a while. But now it's kind of changed to where I'm like only racing once, sort of, over the last several weeks. But I'm sure eventually I'll get back to maybe twice or something. So
Hmm.
I guess at the time when I voted, which was at the very beginning of March, as I'm looking at the log, that was correct. I was racing 3 times a week. But now that we are at this current time of April 10th, I am racing once, and that's barely.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it on the show before, and we kind of have a tendency to ebb and flow. iRacing is a very cyclical hobby, I guess. There's a lot of people who will stick with it, 100% of the time, but most of the people who are in the intermediate casual type of frame have this tendency to race a bunch and then not race a lot and then race a bunch
Yep.
you're in one of those not so much stages. I would like to, but I keep bloody well traveling, and especially now that I got my new PC all built, I'm really looking forward to actually gearing back up again so I can get right into the racing because it looks nice and it's silky smooth now with my new machine.
Yay.
So what did I vote for?
You voted for twice.
That's about right. Although in the last few weeks, not so much because, well, again, schedule traveling
I
and
don't.
whatnot.
To be honest, it's been a long time since I've seen you race twice in a week.
Um,
So I feel like you lied in your voting.
well, that's not entirely true because I usually was doing, I'll do a carb cup. Does carb cup count?
Nope.
Oh, well,
Yeah, it does. I was kind of thinking, just about league races. You usually only race one league race, but
true. And that's because of schedule and family and stuff like that. But I'll usually try to at least get in one, either carb or official race, something like that, in the week as well. Is what I base that two on, I guess.
okay, I'll accept that.
This is kind of this is really freaking me out here, see, because anytime that when we're recording the show normally, when I kind of do a take to you, I do it to the microphone, which is over here on the corner. You can't see it on the video. But now I have a camera, and now I feel weird because now it looks like I'm just talking over my shoulder to nobody. But that's where my microphone is, okay? So you can't see it. The microphone is right here. This is probably making great radio.
Visualize it with your mind.
Actually, what I want to do is I want to try to get. I have a microphone stand. I'm going to see if I can somehow mount it behind me, so I can have it kind of boom mic down towards me, so it's not taking up desk space. I'm not sure if the logistics of that, but it would make life a little bit easier when I'm recording stuff, because I only have so much desk space off to the side here. But that's not of any concern to you people because it won't matter. Because it's a microphone. It's good. It makes my voice sound and stuff.
Yes, but anyways, back to the poll question. We do appreciate everyone voting, and that was just kind of a fun question to get a feel for how much you race, obviously. But I know that I've seen some forum posts about that before, and it's kind of interesting to read what some people say because there are some people, like you kind of mentioned, that race quite a lot, and then there are people who just jump on when they can, and there's people in between.
Yep.
So thank you guys for voting, and our new poll question for April, since we didn't have a show last week, is up on the website, and we've already got a few votes in there. And the question is, what is your favorite track type on iRacing? So if you haven't done so, head to our website at iRacingtodayradio.com and vote. now, and bump up the percentages on that. And you do look funny just sitting there.
Well, I mean, I'm listening.
I know,
you know, and pump up the jam as well. While you actually, I haven't actually gone over and voted yet either. So,
dude,
but
you're like, wow, I'm
10 days in,
disappointed.
I know. Chad is disappointed.
Actually, technically, it was 9 days in because I accidentally didn't put the thing up on April 1st.
Hmm.
Because that was
Well,
like a Tuesday, and I was really busy, and yeah.
I was going to say you accidentally forgot to update the poll question, and so it was a day late. I accidentally forgot to pay for the website, and it went down for 2 days. So
Yeah,
we all make mistakes in this
I,
process.
I think my mistake was less than yours.
Maybe just a little bit.
But yes, so go vote in that poll question. Now, next news. Wow, my computer just freaked out.
Awesome.
Next news item. I accidentally opened up a new window. Did not mean to do that. Is Coda,
Super
which of
Americas.
course I was getting to that.
I was just helping.
Just
You said I was
stealing my
look bored
thunder.
sitting here. I wanted to make sure I was participating.
Telling my thunder, man. I mean, you've got all kinds of news items that you can read that I'm not interrupting you on. And then here's my opportunity to do my first solo news item of the night, and you got to interrupt.
You're the one who dictates who does them. You do the notes, and you laid out the schedule, sir. So
I
this
was
is not my
trying
fault.
to be I was trying to be nice. I was trying to give you lines so that we would have an equal opportunity in the show. And you just thanks.
No, what I'm thinking is you're thinking he's going to try to start live streaming this tonight, which means he's got extra buttons to put. Let's just make sure we make him talk as much as possible to see if he can screw this up royally.
But anyway, Circuit of the Americas will be in the upcoming bill, which apparently is getting very close.
Yes, it is.
I haven't been paying attention, so I would not know.
That's the spirit.
But yeah, I know it will feature three configurations: the Grand Prix config, obviously, the East config, which is sort of a half-track config, and then the West config. And the West config is what the V8 supercars ran there last summer when they made the trip to Coda. And so pretty excited. I mean, we've already talked about, I think, one of the shows not too terribly long ago about how they released some images of that and that BMW car. So will be neat to have that on the sim here in just a few weeks.
Yeah, well, I mean, as we can see by looking at the calendar, it looks like week 13 starting on the week of the 21st. So, a couple weeks out before we get that build, probably 22nd, 23rd of April.
Yay! New build.
Yeah, new build.
Was my enthusiasm a little bit better that time?
Eh, it's getting there.
Okay.
So,
It's your turn now.
oh, is it? Okay, I didn't want. I wanted to make sure because I didn't want to, steal any thunder or anything. Okay, so it's okay to go now.
Yes, go. Take it away.
So, the arrival of the Lucas Oil Raceway on our iRacing.
LORP.
Isn't it called like IRP2 or something?
IRP, ORP, LOR. I said ORP, but I was trying to interrupt you and make a funny joke, and then I messed up the name. So
Gotcha. So the
that's me.
So the AARP Speedway.
Nope. Nope.
No.
WXYZ Speedway.
So the arrival of it is only 2 weeks away. They have put on a picture. Actually, they put a few pictures in one of the forum posts as well. I was looking at earlier today. This is the one that they actually put up on Twitter, which looks nice and pretty. I swear, like I know we talk about every time they release a track, but I swear every time they build the next one, it's almost like the learning curve. They never stop learning how to make these things look better and better and better as they go. So like, because every track they release, it's like the textures on, the track surface, or just some little subtle thing just looks better and better every time they do this. And looking at the pictures earlier today, like this place looks amazing.
Yeah, it does. I've always enjoyed it on other games that I played. Well, I don't remember what they were called, but it was one of my favorite short tracks. So I'm curious to see how I'll take to it whenever we get it, which I know is in 2 weeks. But
Right. And
still.
it's one of those tracks also that I know a lot of people always talk about. Like this is one that people have been really, really looking forward to, especially obviously the short track fans who this is one of those iconic tracks that they really, really wanted in the sim, and now we're going to have it pretty shortly here.
Yep.
I don't think I've ever raced it on any other racing software that I've had. Actually, I'm pretty sure I haven't. So,
I've always loved it. It's kind of a nice little short track. I wish that NASCAR would have, continued to go there because I thought it was cool.
how big?
But
How big is this thing? Not to put you on the spot, but
I don't know. Let's Google
oh wow, okay. So we're gonna fact check now. Okay.
Oil Speedway. And then it says that it's now closed currently hours.
Oh, that's good to know. I mean, so don't head
No,
on over
not
to the track right now to compare this screenshot to it, and obviously we'll put a link in the show notes to the screenshot for those not watching on YouTube, which is everybody, I'm sure, at this point in time, because everybody's listening to it through their iPods on their way into work.
uh-huh.
So, how big is it? Man,
Just a minute. Just a minute.
I gave you your time.
Well, go ahead and read the next news item.
You can't read the next news item before you finish up with the previous one. That's not how this works. What sort of dog and pony show do you think we're running here?
Oh. Fact sheet. Here we go. Okay. La-da-dee-da-da. Okay, let's see here. It is a 0.686 mile oval, quarter mile. Oh, nope, that's a drag strip. Oh, no. That is right. 0.686 mile oval, and then the drag strip is a quarter mile. There's a comma there. I did not see the comma.
I was going to say, because 0.686 is not a quarter mile. I mean, I'm not a professional in
No.
this sort of thing, but...
And a mile oval would not be a drag strip either, because drag strips tend to go in straight lines.
Well, I mean, isn't any oval track really just two drag strips with a U-turn in the on either end?
Sure.
All racing is go fast and then stop and then turn around and then go fast.
See, we're smart. We got this covered.
Yeah, we're all over this.
Mm-hmm.
So moving along, I think
Why we're the best daggum drivers in the world, man. We know exactly what we're supposed to do. Yes, I do have the next news item. Please do not interrupt me. Stop talking.
Yes, sir.
Traction control that we mentioned on the show 2 weeks ago when we were last on. We have confirmed now that the Ford GT, the Volkswagen Jetta TDI, and the Honda HPD car are all getting traction control in the coming build, and it is confirmed that they have those in real life, or in the real world, whatever you want to call it. And they seem much more fun to drive, according to people that have tested it. So, yay, traction control.
So yay, traction control.
I've always thought those three cars were okay to drive, so I don't
Yeah,
I don't really need traction control, which I mean I know we can turn it off, but I don't really know that I want it. But that's okay, because that's me.
I mean, I don't have much experience with the Vet and the Ford GT, really, but the HPD, again, and me being a crappy road racer, had
You know what I did?
not much problem with racing it. What'd you do?
I said Volkswagen Jetta TDI, and that is actually the Chevy Vet, isn't it?
I believe it's the Vet.
Yeah, see, I totally screwed that up.
Awesome. You can't even read your own notes?
Nope. Actually, I just copied and pasted that, so I can't read somebody else's notes.
Oh,
Wow,
okay.
I feel very, that was my
Alive?
blonde moment for the day.
Excited?
No, I was going to go with blonde moment, but,
All right. I'll give you that.
okay. Appreciate that.
Appreciate that. Carry on, please. So, so moving right along, anybody who is in iRacing knows that or probably knows that they've released the schedule. They usually release that a few weeks before the actual season begins, and so we now have our season 2 schedule for 2014. Of course, we'll provide a link in the show notes so you guys check that out. It's right on the front page right now if you want to go click on that so you can download it in PDF format. Remember the days when they didn't give us the schedules in PDF format? Those were dark, dark times. But it's so much easier now just to bring it up and look through. Well, it's not an easy way to go through it. But anyway, uh, some highlights include the BMW Z4 GT3 car will be joining the GT3 class. Seems like a good place for it, being a GT3 car. In the, of course, wait for it, GT3 series. The Global Challenge
Wow, who
series.
knew?
The Global Challenge series is now a fixed setup series, which
Woohoo!
somehow I don't know, in the back of my head I thought it was.
Nope. This kind of excites me.
Does it now?
Might, if I, get my mood back up for racing, I might go check that series out now.
Well, you better get your mood up for racing because could you do a show about it? Is really what it was.
I don't know. Let's ask you that question.
What? Who's asking what?
Last year when you weren't racing all that much, you were doing a show.
Oh yeah, I guess so. It does kind of work out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Are you sure the Global Challenge
Besides,
wasn't already fixed? Man.
yes, because iRacing said that it is now a fixed setup series. So if iRacing says that, then that means it was not already a fixed setup series.
Well, probably. I mean, I guess
Nope,
that's
I'm pretty sure iRacing's always right.
Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't say fixed on the page when I bring it up, so the
That would mean that it's currently open.
yeah, and see, and that's why I was confused because I was confusing the Grand Touring Cup with the Global Challenge, and the Grand Touring I believe is a fixed. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what happened. So
That's it.
indeed. So anyway, in the schedule we also have the Class C. Now this is one that I heard a lot of grumbling about actually, in good and bad. The Class C Street Stock Series is now a fixed setup, and I heard a lot of people saying, "Hey," like I was reading through the forums the other day, and some people were like, "Oh, maybe I might give that a shot now," and a lot of people were saying, "Well, I'm done. I'm out." It's like, huh.
Yeah.
Well, okay then. So apparently we have mixed feelings on how that's going to affect the racing. Although it is a bit weird because I mean there is a fixed street stock series down lower in the tiers, so it seems a bit weird to have two series containing the same car, both fixed. I mean, obviously one's the rookie series where it just goes to three different tracks, over and over again over the course of the season. So it is its own. It serves its own purpose, I guess, and that has to be fixed. Well, it doesn't have to be, but I mean, it makes sense to make the rookie series fixed. But I'm not sure why they actually made the upper class one, the C class, not fixed, because I'm pretty sure the entire idea of having the street stock have a different series up higher was for people who enjoyed the car and wanted to race it at a quote unquote higher level, I guess. And a lot of people feel that if they can't be making their own setups, it kind of takes away from that higher level feeling of the series, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. That's well said.
But I mean, on the other hand, I'm one of the guys who actually enjoys having a lot of fixed series because if I just jump in, it's been well documented that I can't make setups, so that serves my class of driver a little bit better because I'm not going to
Curious.
I'm not going to put a setup together and then just jump in.
Curious, where did you file this documentation?
It was with the proper authorities. Yeah, I was forced to file an affidavit that stated that I should not be allowed wrenches and cars at the same time. I'm allowed to use.
Did you sign it?
Well, of course I did. I signed it with my fake Facebook name, but that's not the point. I'm allowed
Then
around wrenches.
it's not true.
Yeah. Oh, that is the
If
point.
it's a fake Facebook name.
Well, it is.
Well, then that means you didn't really sign it, so you're not. There's no well documentation then.
Well, I kind of consider my fake Facebook name kind of my alter ego. I mean, superheroes go ahead and they have alter egos. I just happen to have two mundane alter egos and just skip the superhero part, so I just flip between the two boring people. So I consider that other person part of me. So it is like I signed it.
Okay.
But it's okay. Well, it's stored in a warehouse somewhere where top men are looking at that one affidavit right now, just like Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Do they have guns?
Well, they have to have guns. They're going to protect themselves. I mean, it's.
Well, who's gonna steal that?
Oh. It would, even, I don't know, Batman?
Wow, Batman does. I thought Batman was a protector.
Yeah, but we've had a falling out, and he's kind of wondering,
We've had a falling out.
yeah, I mean, I'm kind of a
It's
Batman
like I've
fan.
been hanging out with Spider-Man lately. He's really upset.
Well, the thing is, I've been reading a lot of Marvel comics lately, and he's all like, "Hey, dude, I thought you were a Batman guy. I'm over here in DC." I'm like, well, I mean, the only DC superhero that I kind of like is Batman and his, group of villains and stuff. But everything else is Marvel, man. With the Avengers and Wolverine. I'm more of a Marvel guy, I think, and I don't think he took it well. I really don't. He was sad.
Hmm.
Poor Batman.
There, little bat.
And finally, on that schedule, of course, we have the Circuit of the Americas and Lucas Oil Raceway, the Drive to End Hunger Raceway ARP DuPont Superdome.
Go, Daddy.
So those will be on, of course, several schedules as they like to do because it's new, it's shiny, and everybody wants to race it. So they give everybody the biggest opportunity to race them as possible. Plus, it makes good business sense as well. So that is the schedule. You can check it out. We'll give you a link in the show notes, or and then just go check it out and kind of plan out what you're going to race next season based on where everybody's going. I do know that one of the things that I thought was pretty cool is they're actually they're taking that step where they're actually allowing some of the oval series to actually hit a road course, like they really do in real life. I don't remember who it was. I think it was the Nationwide was going to Road America. I think is when assuming that they're doing Road America this week or this year. I think I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you.
I have no idea.
Oh, okay then. But I know I saw Road America on somebody's oval schedule. I could bring it up now, but I'm not gonna.
Okay, well then I'll read the next news item.
You should do that.
In a race at the Texas Motor Speedway that saw some crashes and tempers that took out half of the field of contention, Kevin King kept his nose clean just long enough to score his first win of the 2000. I lose my voice. 2014 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing. King, who had a 15th place car by his own admission, made a late gamble on pit road and took advantage of the contact between Ray Alfala and Chad Lafton, or Laffington, or Lafton, Lafton. Yeah,
I'd
we'll
go
go with
Lofton.
that. Okay.
But then again, we know how good I am at pronouncing names.
To squeeze by into the lead just as the caution flew to end the race. Michael Conti finished second while Lafton, Lofton, Lufty settled for third after his little run-in with Alfala. Trey Edson, or Edison, or whatever, we'll go with that.
I don't think it could ever be Edison.
I'm sure it could. Edison. Edison. We'll go with that. Led late before fading to fourth, and then Adam Gilliland rounded out the top five at Texas on Tuesday. Yeah. Didn't watch the race, but seems like it was quite interesting.
Indeed. And it's pretty cool where they're doing, I actually watched a broadcast race the other day with my dad. When he was down, I mentioned that, I got him to do some laps and he watched me, and they happened to be one of the races was on. I don't recall which one it was, but, when I logged in, I noticed it was live. So it's like, well, to give you a better idea what it is, I'm doing the show about and all the racing and stuff like that. I just put it on my laptop. It's like, here, watch this. This is happening right now. These are all people who are just sitting in their, I want to say basements, and that just seems derogatory. These are a bunch of people sitting in their basements with Cheeto sweat, stained hands, and
Mom, give me another sweet tea.
But that was, and my mom didn't seem to ever get that. She was like, what are we watching? It's like, well, these are all people. They're all racing and stuff like that. So there's somebody out there racing with these other, with these computers.
All over the world.
It's like, no. These are each of these cars has a real pretend person in it, sort of.
The person is.
They're not really in the car. They're in their mom's basement. That's what's been established. But
Yeah, I always enjoy explaining that when people come over. I'm like, yeah, I race people all over the world. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, I was like, I race some guy every Sunday night. This was like a couple of years ago. I was like, I race with some guy every Sunday night. He's from Brazil. It's like, he can't speak a lick of English, but, it's fun racing with him. And they're like, wow, that's really cool. So, like, what's your world ranking? And I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know what.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
So, anyways, yeah, it's kind of fun to explain to people that these people are like all over the world.
Yeah, and it kind of explain. I mean, it's not complicated. It's just that you're racing. It's a racing game without any computer-controlled players, and I think that just confuses a lot of people. Because typically you're racing against AI and stuff like that, and this is just all strictly online, and that's not everybody gets that. The Gran Turismo, the Forza crowd doesn't get that necessarily, even though they do online racing, and that's a joke. Yeah, but anyway, so that was a good experience to show my dad what that was about, and it was it was kind of a cool race. It was at California, so it was.
I've shown people like broadcasted races that I've been in before, just to like give them an idea. And actually, our ex-teammate Jeff Ford, when way back when, this is I guess 2011 now, when I first met him and really we started hanging out and well, not hanging out but racing together. When he started getting interested in iRacing, he had participated in the thing at the Hall of Fame. With those simulators, and that was his only real knowledge of iRacing and experience up until he started talking to me. And not too long before that, a few months before that, I had been in one of those STPC Thunders at Richmond in the late model, and so like I sent him the link for the broadcast and told him to watch it. And I almost wonder if he watched the whole thing, and that's really kind of what got him super interested into iRacing, because he seemed very curious about the whole thing and thought it was obviously very cool.
Right. See, so it is an avenue. I mean, watching, and a lot of people take in information visually like that. I mean, I know when I'm looking at new games and stuff, I don't read reviews. I watch, Giant Bomb does a quick look or a video review and stuff like that. Because if it's about a game specifically, well, here come the elephants. I like watching people play it. That's how I understand if I'm going to like it or not. Same with racing. What?
That was great. I was just sitting there watching the YouTube stream, and during that whole time that I was talking to you about Jeff, it finally caught up, and just watching you sit there, bob your head and kind of like staring at the computer screen was pretty epic.
What do you think I'm supposed to? What am I supposed to do? I'm not
juggle or something.
I'm not a trained monkey. I'm not somebody here to do the dance, monkey, dance.
Oh, and I love how you've got a sponsor back there in the right corner. I just now noticed this.
I did strategically place my hat there. Well, I looked. It's like what is when I looked at the webcam and I set it up. I said, "What is the backdrop?" It's like I got the bare wall and I've got that little table over there which has my router on it and stuff. And there was just this. There was a pile of cables right there where the camera happened to catch. So it's like, well, I should move that because that looks ugly. It's like, what am I going to put there? I know. I'll put my Greg Biffle hat there.
Yep.
So this episode is brought to you by 3M. They make sticky stuff.
Sticky stuff. Yes. So next week we'll have a new sponsor. Maybe we'll have Skittles. So I think Skittles. That we have spent like 40 minutes now in the news segment. I was being a little bit sarcastic.
Yeah, but
we also got extremely sidetracked.
We did talk about Batman, so
yeah. It's funny how you wear headphones and I wear earbuds.
Why is that funny?
It's just weird. You just gave 2 thumbs up. That was interesting.
That was why when I was
The
plugging the
sponsor
sponsor.
plug. Okay. So there was a lot of news, but I believe we've run out of news. I do believe that the Toyota is still confirmed that it's coming in the new build. So
I haven't heard them say no. So
yeah. So that in 2 weeks is gonna make me be one happy person.
you're just gonna be just tickled pink, man. I mean, I've got to get making that video. Maybe the video will just be me sitting here with my thumbs up and with my epic beard and my sponsorship in the background. It's like join iRacing, and I'll just do that for 90 seconds, and maybe I'll win that
Yeah.
thousand credits.
Just
Like
and just keep repeating it. Join iRacing. Join iRacing. Join
iRacing's
iRacing.
good. iRacing's
Join
cool.
iRacing.
Join it. Boogity boogity boogity. Join iRacing.
Yes. So, let's tackle the track
Yes.
of the past 2 weeks, technically.
And that is Bristol Motor Speedway, Chad's favorite track in the whole wide world.
Yep, absolutely. Ain't nothing like it, man. Ain't nothing like it.
There
Of course, it is found in Bristol, Tennessee, USA, and is a 0.533 mile oval. And just recently, like 2007, got a repave, and it is the only track left on the NASCAR schedule that has a double pit road, even though they make it one.
Yeah, but it technically, you could just totally jump right out if you wanted to.
Yeah. Under green flag conditions, you are actually allowed to go down your side, whichever side you're on, and go in and then go out. You don't have to drive all the way around. But under caution, you are forced to go all the way around. A lot of people don't know that, but that is the truth. And we do not have that on iRacing yet. So,
No, we don't.
just to clarify, if you drive at Bristol at any point in the future, you pit on the side wherever you're supposed to be, and you enter on that side and you exit on that side, regardless of whether you pit under green or under caution. When the RCR went there a few weeks ago, there were like several people who could not get that through their head. They kept asking, "Whoa, am I supposed to drive all the way around?" And I understand why they're doing that, but
Yeah.
it is definitely different on iRacing than it is in real life. So, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. This is also the old new version of the track. They went and rescanned. Well, I don't guess they rescanned it. They scanned it.
I thought you said they reskinned it.
They need to. I was gonna say they rescanned it, but the track got repaved in 2007, and iRacing did not exist in 2008. So they went and got the scanning after the track was repaved. But since then, the real track has been grinded down, at least the top lane, and iRacing does not have that version on the sim.
Right.
So maybe one day they'll go grab that. Not that it made a horrible difference compared to what we have on the sim anyways, because we basically run the same line. But it is basically 30 degrees banking, but now it's less than that in the grinded version. But it also is known as the world's fastest half mile, and that is very true because Martinsville is also a half mile, and they go extremely slow there. And at Bristol, they fly.
That's because there's no banking.
I know.
It's not Martinsville's fault. I mean,
My favorite part about Bristol, as I guess we've mentioned before, I attend a lot of races there. And there's been a few occasions where we've taken friends or family for the first time to a NASCAR race in general. And so they come there and, while we're walking in or, while we're sitting there waiting on the race or something to start, they always ask me, like, what's this going to be like? I've never been here, obviously, never been to a NASCAR race. And so I'm kind of explaining it. And the one thing that I always tell them, and it's true and it's cool, I always tell them, and I was like, this is the thing that's crazy about this track. And I said, you see that sign over there on the back straightaway up on that building, which says the world's fastest half mile? They say, yeah. I was like, they can go 4 laps in 1 minute around this track. That's how fast it is. So I always get a kick out of telling people that because it's pretty crazy.
Somehow I thought that you said, I tell them one thing, when I'm describing, what's it going to be like? It's like, well, what it's going to be like? It's going to be loud.
Yeah, now this is also something that's interesting, and anybody else that's listening, and I know that there are some that go to Bristol that are listening.
If there's anybody else who's listening, and I know there's somebody out there, because please help, please tell me I'm not doing this for myself.
Um, but I don't know why this is, but for some reason the spring race, which is of course, if you don't know, is run in the daytime, is always not as loud as the fall race, which is run at night. The night race is always louder. I don't know why. It makes no sense, but I promise you, it's always louder.
Something to do with
This
acoustics, I'm
spring,
sure. Yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, like this spring, like I have headsets where we can talk on a walkie-talkie to the person, sitting next to me. And last fall, when I used those things at the fall race, we could not hear each other. I mean, it was like we were screaming and putting the our hand like over the microphone to like try and block out the cars and like, "Hey, can you hear me?" And like nothing, you could not understand the person. But just a few weeks ago when we were at the spring race, me and my friend were talking and I mean, it was still loud, but you could hear.
Hmm.
So I don't understand it.
I'm thinking, all you could hear was just the raindrops falling on your head.
Yeah, well, the 80 laps we got to see was no rain.
True. Although, I mean, I will say that, I mean, they've had challenges getting, with, as you were talking about, changing the way the surface is and everything like that. And you didn't get to see it because you were, you left and all that stuff. But the racing there in the spring race, once they finally got a chance, to race, was some of the best stuff I'd seen in years. Like, it was a great race. It was a lot of fun to watch. I don't know if it's, the way the tracks come together after they did the groove, or the way they made modifications to the cars. They're not exactly the same cars they had last year and stuff, but whatever they did, it was
Uh,
cool.
I think it's more that the track is starting to wear out now more.
Hmm.
Because the thing, at least in NASCAR, that really stinks is repaves. And it takes years for the tracks to, wear out, and then the racing gets better because racing is better on older tracks. That has been totally proven. But with Bristol, I don't know why, but it's taken a few years for it to kind of get rough again, and now it's starting to get a little bit rougher.
Right.
So I would say by August, once it sits in the sun all summer, and then they get the truck race and the modified race in, and then the nationwide race, I would bet the Cup race in August will be really good, because of the way the track will be slick again and even more worn out by the time we get there at that time. But anyways, the iRacing version of Bristol, I enjoy. I mean, there are there was a decent amount of time, as Trevor kind of mentioned, where I really did not like the on the sim version
Yeah.
because you could kind of drive in, bounce it off a wall, and keep going, and you gain like a bunch of speed, and it was just stupid. And you can still kind of do that, but not as much. The interesting thing is that the lane in the Cup car compared to the Nationwide car is very odd. Like in the Cup car, when we were racing there, you were up against the wall. In the Nationwide car, you were a whole lane down, which is realistic because that's where you're supposed to be. Um, so, but I mean, this is the track that I grew up with. It's the track that means the most to me out of any of them in the whole entire world, and that will never change. And it's the track that I enjoy the most, and it's cool for me because a lot of people have their favorite track, but some of them, even if it's their favorite track, they may not necessarily be good at them.
Right.
I'm not picking on anybody, but still, but for me, this is my favorite track, and I'm actually good at it, so it makes it even more my favorite track.
Hmm. Right. And I mean, my favorite tracks are like like I mentioned before, probably Concord and Pocono. Not great at Pocono. decent at Concord, but growing up as a NASCAR fan, Bristol was the mecca. Like that was the place where you wanted to go, and it was I'd always said if I'm ever going to go watch a race anywhere, back before I'd ever had a chance to actually watch a race live, and now I've watched a couple. It was I want it to be here. Like if I was going to have an opportunity to ever watch one race, I wanted it to be at Bristol, just because that is, I don't know, it just encompasses so much of what is great about racing. Is the cars, 43 cars on this small tiny track and beating and banging and fighting for every inch and fighting for every pass. That's racing, so to speak.
Yes. A couple of fun stories. One of them is actually a real world story. One of them is a sim racing story.
Which doesn't happen in the real world because it's the sim.
Nope.
It's fake.
Yep. Basement.
Cheetos.
Yeah. But during the summer one year, several years ago, I think it was right after they repaved it, if I'm not mistaken. We had some friends that were in visiting, and we happened to take a little field trip to the track, and they give tours of the track, like a lot of tracks do. And so I've already been on that tour, and I've been all over Bristol. I've literally been everywhere for this track. So we were taking the tour, and there were about 10 of us, and most of them don't really care about racing. They were just kind of there because it was like, oh, neat, this is kind of cool to see a track and stuff. But one of them was a NASCAR fan, and he was like super excited to be there. And we got about halfway through the tour, and he was asking me questions like, do you think they'll let us go down on the track? And I was like, oh yeah, they're definitely going to let you do that. And so we got down on the track, and the old Bristol, before they dug it up, had really steep banking, 36 degrees. And that was really hard to climb. But, it was fun, but you felt like you were going to die when you got up to the top.
Don't trip, don't trip.
And don't look down. But now it's not as steep, but still, it's pretty steep. And so, like, when we got down to the part on the track, there were all 10 of us, and the guy was like, go ahead and go out and walk out on the track. And I, like, ran to the top, up against the wall, and was just kind of standing there, because I already done it. And all my friends were, like, trying to climb, and a couple of them got, like, 2 feet up, and then they were like, okay, not doing this.
I'm done.
And, yeah, the guy that was the NASCAR fan, he got about halfway up, and then he kind of looked at me, and you could just, like, see fear in his eyes. And I was like, it's okay, dude. And they also do Christmas lights every year, which is a pretty neat deal that they do at like Bristol and Charlotte, and I think they might do it at Texas now. But they let you drive on the track. I know at least at Bristol. I don't know about the other ones, but I have a funny story about that. I'm making this one up too. So I have 2 real world stories and 1 sim. But
you said I have a funny story. I'm making this one up too.
I'm not making it up. As in I meant like I just thought of it, so I'm going to say it.
I have a sad story about that too, but we'll get to that after your good story.
Okay. But during the Christmas lights thing, they let you drive on part of the track. So, of course, I am super pumped about that. And I usually always, as soon as we come down through the gate right there in turn 3, I stop and let whoever's in front of me kind of get ahead. And then I just floor it, and take off around turns 3 and 4 and go down the start-finish line and all that. Well, this last year, or not this 2 years ago, there was too much traffic, so I couldn't do that, so we had to go slow. So I'm like up, kind of in the groove where they race, just kind of cruising, and like my mom and some other people are in the car, and they're like freaking out because they felt like we were going to tip over. And my mom was like, Chad, you need to hurry up and get around here because we're going to tip over. And I was like, Mom, I've been coming to races for 20 years at this track, and not one time have I ever seen a car flip over at this track. I was like, it's okay.
I can just see it now. They're lining up. It's like, okay, and they're on the pace lap, and they're rolling down the track. And the red flag's out.
Yeah, we're gonna have to bring out all the backup cars. We
Oh,
go faster this time in the pace lap.
there's Clint Boyer on his roof. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's still driving the car.
I can do this. I can do this.
So, anyways, those are my two good stories. But I'll let you tell a story, and then I'll tell a sim story.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I said, being one of the tracks that I really, really had always just wanted to be at, and as anybody's listened to the show, in the past knows that I've been doing some traveling to Virginia for work, and I had a chance to go watch two races. I went to go watch a race at Dover and a race at Martinsville. But I've also seen and visited Richmond International Raceway while there wasn't a race happening, but I got to go to the track and just see it. And then I also, on one of my last trips towards the end of last year, got to actually see Bristol. Again, no race, but I got to be there. And that was so cool to just drive around, heck, the parking lot and just around the edge of the stand so I could see, just look at it. Because I'd never been there before, and it was a cool experience for me. However, the sad part is that as I drove up, and I drove to it on the way to the airport, because it was basically between me and where, because I flew out of Tennessee and I was working in Virginia, so I basically passed by it on the way to the airport. So I was on a time limit, so I was heading out of out of the country and back to Canada. And as I'm approaching Bristol Speedway, as I'm trying to find it, because never been there, as I'm driving up to it, there was a sign that said. That was advertising the Christmas light thing. You could go out on the track and you could do this stuff. And guess when it had started? It had started the night before. So if I had known that that was happening then, and I was like literally an hour away from the track when it was happening. If I had known, I would have driven down, got to drive around the track, and and how much more cool would that have been? Unfortunately, I was on my way to the airport to leave town, so I couldn't wait for that night, obviously. So I missed it that much. I was so upset.
The other cool thing that they let you do during that Christmas thing is they have like a bunch of almost like carnival rides and food stuff in the infield. And so like you can park your car and get out and walk around and go out
I
on
would
the
have
track.
spent that entire night there. Like if I had I would have gotten checked out of my hotel and then just drove down to Bristol and then found some hotel, the closest hotel to the speedway, gone down there until they kicked me out, and then gone to sleep, and then gone to the airport the next morning if I'd known.
Yeah.
Oh well, live and learn.
Well, maybe this year. I was gonna say next year, but this is next year.
Yes.
But
Or is it?
yeah. Oh, da, 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 da. But my sim story is that my all-time greatest win on iRacing is at this track, and it was actually the night that one of the previous presidents of Bristol Motor Speedway passed away, and he was not a close friend to mine, but he was a close friend of my aunt's. And back when people remember this, Winston was the sponsor of NASCAR, and not Sprint or Nextel. Which
Nextel.
Winston,
It's like, man, they were like a sponsor for like 5 minutes.
I know. But RJ Reynolds was kind of the same thing as Winston, and my aunt worked at that place for a long time and got to know Jeff Bird is his name, and he was the president of the track at Bristol for several years until he passed away, obviously. And the day that he passed away was on a Sunday afternoon. Or it might have been in the morning, but I found out Sunday afternoon. And it just so happened, like as fate would have it, I guess, that night I was racing in the SDPC series, and we were at Bristol. And at the time, I was racing in the Sportsman series, which was kind of like their step down from the top series, and so it's kind of like a nationwide series, I guess.
Yep.
And the Premier guys had a low car count, and they had a rule that if they didn't get over a certain number, that they would join with Sportsman. So we combined for that particular race. So it was like I don't know, 25 some car field, which is pretty good for late models, and especially at Bristol, which is not really a late model track. And so I was really fast in practice, I'm feeling great. And then when, I found out the premier people were coming, I was like, oh, well, great, now I got to beat those guys too. And this, I was not as, I was not very confident in my skills back then. A little bit more confident now, but so I was kind of worried, how I was going to run. But as I said, as fate would have it, what I guess we ran the last 40 some laps under green, and I destroyed my right front tire trying to stay in the lead and holding off a guy that was behind me who was way faster than I was at the end of the race. But I hit all of my marks and did not blow out my right front, even though every time I went into a corner watching the replay, it was smoking. You could see smoke coming off of it. Um, I managed to win the race, and I mean that was like the perfect scenario. And even though it's a sim game, and it technically it doesn't really matter. For me, it was pretty special because it's my favorite track. I knew Jeff Bird decently well, and had spoken with him on different occasions, and I grew up at the track, and then to be there that particular night and then get the win, that was by far my all-time favorite win, and it will never be replaced by any win that I've had since then or off in the future if I win again. So that's pretty cool.
It is cool. And I've had some. Well, I mean, I've had wins here. I mean, it's one of the few tracks that I've actually won at. So not only is it special, and just because I've always admired and just always made sure I watch the races here, but it's I've actually won here in the late model and the SK modified. So it's and when you only win as few races as I do, each win's kind of special. So, but
Yeah.
and it can be a fun track. I mean, it can be as a slower car, it can be frustrating. Speaking from experience, because it can be challenging to be out of the way, and the fact that it's so short. Obviously, if you have any decent car counts, you're going to be in the way almost immediately because
Yeah.
and I've raced here where we've had car counts in the 30s and you're in traffic the entire time, and even having the best intentions of being out of the way, you can be in the way, and it's really easy to get off the corner and miss the line, miss your points, and end up getting rear end loose and spin it out in front of people and ruin races and stuff. I've seen that countless times. So
Yeah. For me, and I guess it's just because I love the track. I mean, provided that they don't wreck me, obviously, I actually really enjoy lap traffic here because I guess I've seen so many races and I've watched, the best drivers drive the track that I know how to get around that lap traffic. And like it's just fun. Like it's the only track that I feel like that I literally know how to drive. Like I have a pretty good idea how to drive a track like Charlotte or Texas or something, but this track is literally the track that I know how to drive. And as a result, lap traffic is more fun for me because I get around them a lot quicker because I know how to do it. And so it's almost kind of like an entertaining myself deal when I'm racing and I come up on lap traffic. It's like, oh, this is going to be fun. Look, three wide, I'm in the middle. And I mean, that's what I do. Like I've gone three wide in the middle with lap cars like several times because I know that I can do it. So I just enjoy it.
well, I'm thinking it's like you're having fun. They're over there peeing their pants because they're like, oh crap, I'm three wide on the top, three wide on the bottom. Oh no,
It's like, and that's the,
that's the leader. Oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap.
yeah, I'm sure it's terrifying for them, but it's a blast for me. I got a smile on my face.
Awesome. Well, I think we've spoken about the wondrous Bristol
Yep.
enough. Although one last thing I will mention, I guess, is the fact that, and I think I brought this up on the show before, so I'll be brief about it. But the fact where Bristol is surprised me because, like I said, I've been to, when I went to Dover, it was in the middle of this, busy commercial area. I went to Martinsville, and it was in the middle of this backyard field thing that just looked,
Yep.
and then Bristol being, it's the bull ring, it's, this this big place where wrecks happen. It just has not violence, but it just has this aggressiveness that's associated with it. And when I drove up into the parking lot, I was up high there, and I'm looking around, and it's sitting in this beautiful area, and I could see farms and hills. Like it's so weird that it's just in this such peaceful looking area for what you see when you're actually watching the race on the track. I just thought that was so cool that it was such a contrast with where it's actually located.
Yep. Right
But
off Volunteer Parkway and 394, depending on when you come in.
I don't know. I went in where my GPS told me to, and then I saw the track, and then I drove into it. Well, not into
Sorry.
it.
You probably, yeah, that would have stunk for your
I'm at
car.
Bristol. Woo, smack! I have to
Oh
go
man,
now.
I wrecked at Bristol.
I broke Bristol.
I'll say this and then we can move on. One of the things my dad always tells me when we go to the races there, right when they crank them up, as soon as they say, "Gentlemen, start your engines," and they're firing them up and they let them sit there and warm their cars up, my dad looks at me and he always says, "Get a good look at all those cars because they won't be like that when they finish.
This is the best these cars are going to look all night."
They're so shiny and pretty. Afterwards, they're gonna have so much damage."
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I've seen some pretty crazy races there. But how about those SK and Tour modifieds?
How about those cars? Those cars are pretty cool.
Yeah, we've kind of talked about this before when we did our interview of each other, I believe, on that show way back when. But the Tour modified car is actually the car that brought us together, Trevor.
Oh.
Since we're on an anniversary show, how about an anniversary of our friendship?
Well,
I mean, we're not going to tell the story, but I'm just saying.
I'll say it's not, but it's not technically the anniversary of our friendship because we've been friends longer than the year. So,
Yeah, but we met in
well, okay.
season 3 of, I guess, 2011, which is when the Tour Modified first rolled out, along with Thompson. And you started racing that car full time that season. I started racing that car full time that season. And voila.
Yeah, and actually, the Tour Modified, kind of skipping into, right into the car, we'll talk a bit about them. But the Tour Modified was a car that I had a love-hate relationship with because I spent a lot of time with the SK Modified. And the Tour Modified is basically the same structure of car with more power and no control. At least for me it was when I was racing it. And I'd been racing the SK for a bunch, so I jumped into the Tour when it first came out. So I raced the full season, the first season that it was available on the sim. And I ended up winning my divisional championship. Like I ended up getting first place overall for that season, and I don't think I ever raced it again. But
Quit by your head.
but I ended up now, mind you, it was Division 9, but I still
Counts.
won my division. So, and it's the only division I've ever won. Was
It
that
counts.
Division 9? It was the what? It was the end of 2010. I won my first and only championship in iRacing in the Tour Modified. So I have some love for it, I guess.
I have not really driven the Tour mod since that season, which apparently was in 2010, according to you.
Yep.
But I did race it like 8 or 9 times that particular season when it first came out. And I do remember, like, I loved it because my driving style is kind of like loose, drive the car completely sideways. And that's what I enjoy. And that's how I, go decently fast. And that's kind of what I felt like this car always gave me. But I'm sure it's changed since then. But, because I mean, it's 2014 now.
Yeah.
But, I remember that when I was driving it that season, that for the first 20 laps of a run, I would be, in control and things would be fine. And there wasn't, much going on with the car as far as handling went. And then it's like right after you got to lap 21 and all the way until you make a pit stop or the race ended, you were wrecking all over the place. That's what I remember. But it was fun, but I just remember that.
Yep.
The thing that bothers me, I have to say,
as to say, and that's how I remember too. It was just wrecking loose. Yeah.
yeah, the thing that bothers me is that I got really comfortable in this car and was pretty fast, but I've never won a race in the thing, and that always bugs me.
Aha, I have. So
Yeah, jerk.
that's the spirit.
I'm just kidding. But I mean, it's always bothered me that I haven't won in it because I came really close a few times. So it's not like, I was finishing fifth and like, dang it, why can't I win? Like, I mean, I had a two, three, four second place finishes and was right there on the verge of something happening that would have, allowed me to win or something, but I never got it. So one day I'm gonna go back and race that car and try and win, just so I can be like, yay, I did it. I'm
Wonder
done now.
they have those achievement type things that they've added in, over the years. I wonder, is
Yeah.
there one for win in every car? I don't think there is.
I don't know.
I don't
Not
believe there
sure
is.
at all. But the car does have 370 horsepower apparently, and or at least the SK does.
Hmm.
I believe the Tour has more than that,
It
but
does. At least I'm pretty sure it does.
yeah, better. But it is a very fun car. The thing that if you're not used to driving quote unquote open wheel, at least front of these cars are open wheel,
Yep.
uh, take some time practicing because it is a little bit tricky. And the tires, we always say that tires are important. On this car, tires are really important, and not only are the tires, but the wheel itself that the tire sits on. So make sure you get some practice with that. But these cars, whether it's the SK or the Tour that you decide to drive, are a lot of fun. I mean, they have I know that I don't know how great the car counts are, but I know that there are a lot of people who have stuck with the cars for years, and they that's what they race all the time. It's kind
Hmm.
of like their own little community down there, and there are some good people down there that race. And there's some pretty good drivers. I know that before I joined IRTM with Trevor and all them, it I was on a team in uh, the Tour Modified, and I was only on their team for a little while, but they were some they were pretty dedicated to this car, and I've ever since I'm still friends with a couple of them ever since then, and that was 2010 when that was happening. And I don't see them or race with them all the time, but every now and again when I look at my little friends list down there and they've got a little steering wheel next to their name, they're usually in a modified, so it's a pretty dedicated community.
Yeah, and it's if it's down at that same level as where you're racing the late models and stuff, but it definitely has a very different feel to it. Like I found, I don't know, it's hard to even describe. I felt like I was racing more. Like I felt racier in this car than I did in the late model. But like you mentioned, it's sort of kind of open wheel, and that's the biggest challenge I found in this car was it took me a while to figure out where those right side tires were because I spent the first bit of learning both the cars. I mean, they're the same shape basically. Like I spent the first bit learning not to hit the wall because I always underestimated where that tire was sticking out. And
Hmm.
I've heard other people say that as well. It's just the fact that I don't know, just something about when I'm sitting there and I'm looking behind the wheel of that car, I could not figure out where that right side was. And it's probably because it's not a symmetrical car. Like it's very oddly shaped. Like
Hmm.
it's not your late model. You look at it from the front down, and basically any stock car or any, actually I think any other car other than this one on the sim, you look down and it looks exactly on the right. The same on the right as it does on the left hand side. Where this car, the right hand side just kind of juts out, and you have these weird roll bar things happening off the side, and it's an oddly shaped car. But once you figure out how where your dimensions are, where every piece of that car is at any given point in time, it was one of the between this and the late model. Like I spent a ton of time racing the SK and the late model in my early racing career.
Yeah, The one thing that's also different is the lovely thing that the hood ornament that sticks out of it, of the hood, that you kind of have to look through. And it's not really distracting when you're just focusing on the track, but when you start racing around somebody and you want to kind of like glance over and see where they are and stuff, it can kind of get in your way.
Yep.
But so you also want to get some practice with that. The car also sounds very beastly,
Hmm.
just like boom, kind of thing. But it's a fun car, and I believe that you get two for the price of one on this deal, and I think they're 11.95. So
Yeah, you do.
um,
You get both of them for when you buy. You basically buy the modified, and you end up
yeah.
with both cars. So
So if you haven't bought them and you think you might be interested, I would recommend it because they're fun to drive. And one day, I don't know when, but one day I
you will
am
win.
no, one day I'm going back to the Tour Modified, and not because I want to win, but just because I really did enjoy driving it. I
Yeah.
did it get the tire model? I think it did. Yeah, it did. So, um, I haven't really played with it much since it got the new tire model, but I do want to go back and race in the Tour Mod one of these days in the future.
Yeah, and that's I don't know if it is, but like you said, there is a fairly good community around it and stuff. But I'm afraid that a lot of people, because it's in the same class. At least the SK is the Tour. I believe is a C class car, like
Yeah,
gym bags. But
let's see.
but the fact that the SK and the late model kind of hang out in the same area and they're the same. They're both short track cars. They're both D class. I'm afraid that people move right from the out of the late model and then move up into the trucks or something up or higher, and this one kind of gets missed because they are,
Yep.
even though they are the same class, like I said, racing the same kind of tracks, they are very different experiences when it comes to driving them. So it's certainly worth checking out if you might have happened to skip by it on your race up to an A class license.
Yep.
So,
Programming note. Tune in live on Saturday for round four of the 2014 iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series at Road America, which will be broadcasted on Saturday, as I said, on iRacing.com/live. 47 laps, and it'll begin at 10 a.m. Eastern Time.
but did you just pull that out of your butt?
That was a commercial.
You're watching commercials? Oh man.
No, I just went to the iRacing.com press page, and it was like, tune in, broadcast. I was like, oh, well, maybe we should just mention that.
Good plan.
Yeah.
So that is our track and that is our car of the week. Moving right along, we haven't really done much in the way of racing this past couple weeks now. Have you actually had a chance to be out on the track this last little bit?
I raced last Monday, not the one we just had a few days ago, but a week ago, at Texas in the RCRL. But I was cut 43 laps short from the finish when I got involved in a crash. But it was decently fun up until that point. The setup was too tight for me. If it was a little bit more loose, I would have. I was about an 8th to 10th place car. If it was a little bit more loose, I think I could have driven up to maybe the top five or something. Even though I did actually drive into the top five at one point, but then my ate up my tires and started falling backwards again, and then got stuck on the outside. And then in trying to get back to the bottom, I was clear, but the guy that wrecked me drove it in really deep, and I happened to be the guy in front of him
Hmm.
and got crashed. But he didn't do it on purpose, but it could have been avoided. So that's all I've done lately.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, I've been doing some of those tests and stuff. So I guess since I haven't had a chance to really race between, like I said, I was out of town, and then got home, and then I was out of town again, and then building my computer and stuff. So not much in the ways of racing experiences per se, but I do have had some experiences with my build. My computer build is now done. Put the video card in there Monday, might have been Tuesday. But I got that in this week, so that's installed. I mentioned on Twitter, I was doing some testing with iRacing. I had some with the way it was before. There was one section on the back stretch of Daytona that for some reason, even by myself, it would dip down to about. I'd be starting around 60 frames thereabouts, and it would dip down about 42. I don't know. There's something back there. It's rendering that it really has to think hard about. I don't know. So I had the settings kind of set medium-ish, about the middle of the road, a little higher than medium, and that was kind of my testing point, was that 42 frames per second. Put the new video card in, and the first thing I fired up was iRacing. It's a GTX 760, in case anybody's curious. So I put that in there and went on to Daytona, and the very first thing that caught my attention was, like, as soon as I loaded up the sim, and I looked at the little frame thing, I think it was 200 and something. It's like, whoa, this is okay. So this makes a difference. Got it on the track, and I was in the high hundreds, low 200s, and then when I got to that one section on the backstretch of Daytona, it dipped down to 140, 142. So same range, 42, just an extra 100 frames on top of that. I then did some tests and jumped into a couple different rooms, turned everything that is possible on and to its highest. Like, there's nothing else in there for me to set in all those settings that I could not set, that I could set any higher. And throughout my various tests on different tracks and with different people, the lowest I could make it go was 89 frames per second, was the lowest I ever got to. So I think I'm pretty happy with this upgrade.
Yeah.
I might even I'll probably turn down a couple settings because they're pointless. When I start doing some streaming stuff, then maybe, the frames will be a little bit lower because the computer's working a bit harder, doing other things. But, I don't need 3D crowd people, that actually have a front and a back. I don't really need that while I'm racing. That adds nothing.
No.
But,
That is actually a rookie tip of the week, is a big frame killer. I think we've already had this as a rookie tip, but we'll do it again.
Because we have nothing else.
Yeah, when you are on the track driving, the crowd detail needs to be set to low. The only difference between low and high is low is only front, no backs. High is front and back. And of course, when you're racing, unless you're flipping through the grandstands, which would be horrible, you don't need to see their backs.
No.
So that'll save you some frames. And there's also a couple of other things, like I think more shadows. There's a couple of things that you can turn off that even the world's greatest computer really, it's not that they're going to have horrible frame rates, but they don't process it totally great.
Right.
But I don't remember what those are because I have not been on iRacing for a week and a half. So I don't.
And as soon as you stop racing, everything just falls out of your head. So
Yep. So I don't remember what my graphics options are, but maybe if I remember, I might be racing tomorrow. So if I remember, I will take a picture so that I will have that and post it to Twitter or something.
Yeah, and actually I would be curious because, like I said, I turned everything up, just to see if I could. But obviously, if I don't need it to be wasting frames if it's not necessary, especially when, like I said, if I have to get myself a little bit of headroom when I'm doing streaming and stuff like that. So, be curious as to what basically, turn this off. It adds nothing to your experience, yet choose frames like the Cookie Monster kind of thing. That might be something that might be worth turning off.
Yeah, and one thing I'll note is that when I post that picture, for those of you that are curious to see it, keep in mind that when you're looking at it, and I mean, you'll see it up in the top corner, obviously, but keep in mind that I am on 3 screens. So that's my settings are with 3 screens. So I don't know. I average anywhere from 80 to 150 frames with the settings I have in the screen. So
nice.
It's pretty good. So, which, I mean, that's really good for 3 screens because obviously, even though it's 3 screens, it's one giant one combined.
Yeah. It's one monstrous resolution is what it is.
Yeah. And it doubles what the computer has to do. So, but I mean, if I was only on one screen, like I remember when I was on one screen, like you were talking about, I was getting like 200 and some frames, I was like, this is so amazing. But, that died when I got 3 screens, but it was worth it.
Yeah, I'd say. My plan is to just stick with the single screen for now and just...
Yeah.
Because I probably should have gotten a beefier video card or one with more RAM on it, or video RAM. Mine's only a 2 gig card, but I bought that because it was basically best price for performance in the range I was looking at for a card. I mean, I could have waited long. Well, on top of that, it's probably about the best video card my current power supply could handle as well. So if I went higher, I would have been spending more money, and I would have had to buy a new power supply as well. So it was the sweet spot, so to speak.
Hmm.
Although although I will mention I had a brief moment of panic when I first got it and put it in because my case is not like a full size case, and I went to put it in and I didn't think it was going to fit because this card is monstrous compared to my old video card.
Yeah.
I actually had to make a couple adjustments. Typically, my method of cable management when I build a system is find a little cubby hole somewhere and jam all the cables in that aren't being used. But I actually had to tie them off and tuck them away neatly in order to get me just a little bit of extra space. I had to move where my hard drives were mounted because the power cable and the SATA cable that was coming out of the back of it, just that little bit was too much. It was bumping against the card, so I had to move my hard drives up higher so that they were out of the way. So it barely fit. Now I've got good airflow. I've checked my temperatures. Everything's good, so I've got it all figured out. But it was oh crap, what have I done? Oh no, I'm in trouble at
Yeah.
that moment. I went to build my computer up.
Yeah, on my old computer that I used to use for iRacing, I had a very small NVIDIA card, and then I upgraded to some kind of ATI, I don't remember.
Hmm.
And I had the same problem, and I don't know how I got that to fit. It was a miracle because I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I didn't even think about it not fitting. And that was a really small case, my first case. This case that I have now is ginormous. But yeah, you gotta. That's another good rookie tip. If you're gonna upgrade your graphics card, make sure that
Check the
you
dimensions.
and then measure and make sure that it will fit. And always remember that you're gonna have cords running everywhere, so make sure that it will fit with cords running everywhere.
Yep, and there's
That
gonna
can
be
be
cords
tricky.
running to the video card itself.
Yeah,
So
and if you're like me, my first computer case had a fan in the side of it, so like you don't want that obviously to interfere.
put it all together and you just hear this crunching grang, 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 grang. What's that? It's
Doink,
like,
doink, doink, doink.
it's like,
And
oh,
then all
that's
of a
my
sudden,
fan shooting up my video card.
yeah. I like my
Excuse
graphics
me.
card. I like my graphics, the new graphics card I have now. It has three big fans on it. Like most graphics card have like that plastic casing around it or whatever now.
Hmm.
And then like a fan, somewhere on the side. But the one I have doesn't have any of that casing around it. It just has three huge fans. I'm like, heck yeah.
Yeah, actually, mine.
Cool that baby.
I got the MSI, the 760, and it's got dragons on it. I mean, so it fits with my main board, or well, my motherboard, and but it's got like this big honking heatsink on it and two big fans, and like the thing, I don't know. I mean, sure, it's a geek thing, so to speak, but man, it just made it look really cool. I mean, I know it's just a bunch of circuits and stuff, but it looks neat.
Hmm.
Like I was looking at it, it's like, man, this is the coolest looking video card I've ever owned, by far, and not just because of the dragons. I guess it'd be cooler if they put a picture of Batman on the side of it, but
Yeah. Um, I'm excited because provided that which I should be able to race tomorrow. I'll be in your stream if you show up.
yeah, and that's I guess that's the other side of it with the computer build being done, and like I mentioned in the past, I've been kind of messing around with streaming and stuff because it's something I've been interested in doing for some time, and now I finally got the hardware that can actually handle it. So I've been doing some tests and whatnot, and then which is what kind of led to this whole YouTube thing as well. And I've got it. I mean, my YouTube channel, which in case you don't know, I'll have links in the show notes and all that good stuff. It's called Ratface Productions with two T's, so RATTFACE Productions. So you search it out, you'll find my page, and I'm planning on hosting the live streams of the show there, and I'm going to be doing some game streams, some various things, iRacing stuff, probably some Battlefield. I got a couple other ideas of things I want to try. It's kind of one of those things where I just want to, stick some, throw some mud against the wall, see what it'll stick, see what's going to produce something entertaining, something that's worthwhile watching, kind of thing. So I'm going to be trying a few different things here in the next little bit. But one thing I'm planning on doing is doing my streaming my races on Fridays. As you guys know, I race over in the IRL on Friday nights, and the Nationwide car. That's kind of my league night of choice, since I can only kind of set aside one night for that. Missed the last couple of races because of being out of town. It's kind of hard to race. So I'm going to be back in the saddle the next race, which is tomorrow night. Probably. I'm scheduled to race, although they're racing at Darlington, which is I've heard it's tough to tame.
It's fun, man.
It can be. I've always had challenges racing there. So actually, when we're done the show here tonight, I'm actually going to go practice some laps and make sure I can bloody well race the thing. So moving forward, my plan is to basically live stream those races. So it'll have, it'll just be my view from the cockpit for the entire race, because obviously I'm not going to have a broadcast crew changing cameras for me. And then, my webcam showing me and the frustrated looks that I have on my face when things go bad. I think I can set it all up so I'll have, you'll get the audio from the game, obviously, and stuff like that. And anytime I race with teammates, then I have TeamSpeak open off on the side so I can talk to Chad, Larry, Lewis, Andy, that sort of thing when we're racing. So hopefully that audio will come through too, so you'll kind of get the experience of here's what it's like to be Trevor racing. It might be a short experience, might be a horrible experience. I don't know. You might fill my comments with, oh my goodness, how would you do a show about iRacing and you're such a horrible racer? You've told us about it, now I've seen it firsthand. Oh my God.
Or you might win tomorrow.
Who knows? So hopefully that'll be something I'll be able to do weekly for you guys, and you guys can watch the stream of me doing those races. We race tomorrow at 7? Well, at 9:30 is Eastern time is when we actually go green. So I'll start the stream obviously earlier than that. So hopefully that'll provide something extra to you. I mean, we asked you guys before, what you guys found most interesting about the show, and the thing that you guys seemed to really attach to was us talking about our experiences at iRacing. That seemed to be your favorite thing. So we talk about it each week, what we do in our races. So, well, now the next step is you're going to get to see what I do in my races. Chad's had his GoPro videos up as well that you guys have watched, and that's, from one perspective. This will be slightly different because it'll just be the game video as opposed to camera over my head. So, you know what? Hopefully it's content that you guys are enjoying. Hopefully it's something that adds to your iRacing experience, which is basically our goal here. So look for that tomorrow night, assuming that I feel brave enough after I race some laps after I post the show here tonight that I don't feel I'm going to be a menace to myself and others. Then I'll be racing tomorrow night, and you can watch that stream.
Yes, and my YouTube channel is Chadillac Dalton 77, which is ChadIllac and then DALTON 77. And like you said, I have a bunch of GoPro videos, and I will probably, because I haven't done one for like a month, partially because I haven't been racing, but when I was doing the Texas race that I mentioned I got wrecked in, I was going to upload that even though I got wrecked in it, but my battery died about halfway through the race.
Oh dear.
Because even though I thought I was charging my GoPro, it was not charging. So I was like, well, can't upload that because it's going to be like 40 laps of nothing. Because the first 40 laps were not very exciting from a watching it standpoint. It was a lot of green flag racing, single file. So, but I will probably do tomorrow's IRL race, of course, provided I get to race, which should happen.
Right.
And since I've got the thing definitely charged now, I will likely record that race because Darlington is one of my favorite tracks to go to because of the challenge. So,
right. So actually, that'll provide. Assuming that everything lines up, that'll provide an interesting contrast. You'll get to see Chad's perspective on the race, and from the way that he films his stuff, and my perspective. So. Hopefully we'll finish 1-2, and it'll be an amazing experience for everybody involved.
Yeah, of course with me first, but
I'm going to end up on my roof somewhere, man, because I struggle there. So it's going to be the shortest stream ever.
What will probably happen will be like the best race you could have ever streamed, especially if you can get TeamSpeak to come through, would have been that race at Talladega when we were tandeming, and there was a bunch of cars coming up on us fast when we had to switch, and I came on TeamSpeak and very calm and patiently and like almost peacefully. Like, I mean, you people should have listened to this. I was so calm in how I said this. I was like, I looked at my mirror. I knew that we were switching. Trevor was the one that was switching, and he was going to pull up in front of me. And I looked at my mirror and I was like, okay, those cars are coming at a very quick rate, so I can't drop down behind Trevor. And so I very calmly came on the radio and said, "You're going to have to come up." And Trevor took that as right then, and we wrecked. So that would have been the best thing for a stream.
Yeah, well, see, I mean, it is again in that same document affidavit there. It's well documented that I become very intense during super speedway racing. It's a different feel than any other racing I do. So I'm at a heightened sense of awareness and action. So and I was tuned in. I was listening to your instructions. I was making sure that I did everything you said because I was in the zone. So you said all I heard was come up. It's like, let's go, let's do this.
And then next thing I know, I'm head on into the fence. I'm spinning all around. And I came on the radio and said, "What the heck are you doing?" And Trevor was like, "You said come up." I was like, "Not right then."
Yeah. So hopefully we won't have it. Well, I mean, it's Darlington's a bit of a different beast, but hopefully we won't have anything like that tomorrow night.
But it would make for good TV.
It probably would. But we've gone overtime here this week
Yeah.
with there's a lot of news. We missed a show. Still happy anniversary.
keep up.
Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Yay.
Again with the enthusiasm, but
Hey, I'm the most enthusiastic person you'll ever meet in your entire life.
I am. No, wait, you are.
Right?
Wait,
No,
what?
I am.
Okay,
I am. Write it down.
write it down. Get this straight, man.
Yeah. See, I was so enthusiastic when I told you that you were going to have to come up. You could hear it in my voice. I was like, "Trevor, you're going to have to come up." Oh, gosh.
Do it now.
Not right then.
That's it. I got this. Eyes wide. It's like, okay, I'm coming up. Must go up. No. But
Great moment.
we will end this show here, and so I
So
can
watch the stream tomorrow.
yeah. So tune in tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll have that up for you guys, so you guys can
Don't tweet it.
check that out.
I'll tweet it.
I'm going to actually be. I'm also going to be doing some testing tonight afterwards. Like I said, between doing some racing and stuff. Nothing live, just to make sure that now that I've got my computer all put together, make sure that I haven't missed anything and everything's going to work out properly. Heck, I don't even know if this has worked out. Everything
It
on
has.
everything on my system shows that it's good, so I'm assuming that it's all worked out fine.
I've been watching you sit there quietly. Like a creepy stalker.
Staring into your soul. Like I said, okay, it takes a while for your video to catch up, but just know that I'm staring into your soul right now. But it's one of those things where, as I get better, I'll learn more stuff to add to this, and jumping things in and out and stuff. So I'm just learning the software, having fun actually doing it. So
It's fun to watch. Like I know that they were tests, but I actually really enjoyed. Well, I say actually as if I actually really. But I did enjoy watching those two Carb Cup races. I both times I caught them late when they were live, so like I didn't watch the whole thing live, but I went back and afterwards and watched all of it just to kind of see what it was all about, and it's pretty neat. And then now I'm discovering that like people everywhere do that.
yep, it's actually quite a lot of people doing it and stuff like that. So hopefully,
And it has a pretty good following too.
yeah. Like I said,
It's not like there's one person out there,
it just
watching
watches
somebody
all the
race.
streams.
Like there are a lot of people, so that's cool.
Yeah, so hopefully I can add to that community in some meaningful fashion with my horrible driving.
And when I come to lap you, I'll be sure and wave to all the fans.
Well, I'll have my webcam going, so I'll make sure I'm waving out the side.
Like, "Hi, Chad." Even though nobody can see me waving, but I was.
Yeah, well, see, but I can wave. I can. You can't see me. Being all John Cena here. But
Maybe
anyway,
I'll get some mask of a famous person, and then we can start putting me on these streams for the show, and and it'll be like you're talking to Tony Stewart or something. Maybe I'll be a different race car driver every week.
Maybe I'll get a mannequin head and I'll put it back there where I have my 3M hat, and I'll just point at that and and talk to
This
it
is
like
Chad.
it's you.
He's wearing his lovely 3M hat. He's a big Greg Biffle fan secretly.
He keeps going on about Joe Gibbs racing in Toyotas, but really,
Yeah. Deep down somewhere.
But anyway, we need to end this thing, this
Yes.
roller coaster ride that we've gone through. So,
Please. Horribly.
well, I have children I need to still tuck in. I got things to do, and apparently I got to learn how to race Darlington, which I have no idea how to race. So that should be fun. I know don't go down on the part that looks like the track, even though it really, really, really looks like the track. It's not the track. Don't go down there. It's scary.
Here's all you need to know.
Okay.
Go straight for a little while. Make a little left-hand turn for a couple of seconds there. Then go straight for a little bit longer. Then you're going to make a little bit more of a sharper left-hand turn. And then you're going to go straight again. Then you're going to make another wide swinging left-hand turn. And you go straight again. Go narrow. Just keep doing it. That's all you need to know. And don't hit the wall.
Right. But isn't this one of those tracks where the fastest way to go around is to almost hit the wall the entire lap?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm bad at that, so this should go well.
That's why you want to tune in tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern Time to see that live stream.
But that will about do it for this
I'll
week.
be in the white car that passes them.
I'll
Okay,
point
I'll
it out. I'll point it out to the fans as you go by. But that will about do it for this week. A big thanks to all of you out there for listening for this last year. It's been a year of you guys
In 2
interacting
days.
with us and listening and having fun, and hope we, like I said,
And
I was going to say, I mean, I say it all the time, but I hope that we're just adding just that little something to your iRacing experience that makes it just that little bit much more enjoyable.
and I wanted to say thank you for allowing me to come on board.
Yes, and thank you for joining. Of course, I mean it
well,
was
thank you.
the consistency of Chad. See, I had the drive, I had the skills and the abilities, but it wasn't until I had a partner that kept me on track that I could actually broadcast for a year straight, as without falling off into the weeds somewheres and not actually doing the show. So I mean, Chad is like the executive producer and on-screen talent, or on air, I guess.
Yeah,
So
you're the on-screen talent. I'm the
I
on-air.
am. Although I didn't shave today, so I mean, my Wolverine beard
I didn't shave either.
isn't as distinct, as it normally is. I got that scruff, but that's more Wolverine-ish anyway. But anyway,
I just look like a hillbilly.
so thank you everybody for the last year. It's much appreciated. Had a grand time doing it, and hope you enjoy it. So remember, the show is available for download. You can download it on iTunes and Zoom.
Woo!
You can watch it on the webpage or listen to it on the webpage. And now you can watch live on YouTube every Thursday night when we actually record on Thursday nights and don't have to change it. And that's at 9 p.m. Eastern, give or take. We were about 10 minutes late tonight. And the archives will be there, so you can actually go back and watch that when you want. So you can watch it through YouTube, you can listen through it through Zoom and iTunes and on the webpage. And if I ever figured out how to embed web or videos on our webpage, I'll do that too. Maybe Chad knows how to do that. He's a web guy.
Yeah, it's not that hard.
So you can catch the YouTube ones over, like I said, at Ratface Productions over on YouTube there. You can check out the website for information, links, polls we mentioned on the show over at iRacingTodayRadio.com. You can follow show news through Facebook at Facebook.com/iRacingTodayRadio and through Twitter at Twitter.com/iRacingToday for myself and Twitter.com/It'sChadillac for Mr. Chad.
Please email any questions, comments, and poll suggestions that you might have to feedback at iRacingTodayRadio.com. And, of course, feel free to add myself and Trevor as friends on the iRacing.com members website. It's been a little while since I've had a friend request. I'm quite disappointed.
Aw.
But until next week, ladies and gentlemen, remember that the race is rarely won in the first turn.
But it is often lost there. Good night, everybody.
Yay.
And stop that recording. It still says we're live, even though I said stop.
But yeah, it's not hard actually at all.